This video is brought to you by board games, in particular, Mayscape. I just got this. It's so great, I haven't even played it yet. Mayscape, you have other games such as Gravity Maze, 3D Labyrinth, Fallout, Red Sonja, Magic the Gathering, Planeswalkers, or the card game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Battlefield from Risk, Monopoly, whatever you want. Key to the Kingdom, whatever floats your board. This is it. You don't need electricity. You don't need nuclear power. You don't need electrical power plants or solar panels. You just need your brain. You need imagination. That's it. No AI required, no microtransactions. There's always extra boxes, but no DLC. You own it forever. You could put it on a shelf, just like that one over there. It's great. Mayscape is something I'll be playing later. Maybe I'll review it later. I thought about this, so it took me a little while. This is a topic that I wanted to do for a while. On shipless oceans, I did all. And I remember when Flash says to Batman he hadn't saved anybody. That was the Joss Whedon cut, but this is the Zack Snyder cut, and he did save lives. Don't forget, this is still Goth-Metal lore. I am your host, Maestro Drake. And what is Goth-Metal lore? Any storytelling in a fictional, usually fantasy setting that involves imagery seen in and suggests metal music. Moreover, what are more mature elements of violence, human deaths, horror, abstracts, and psychedelic imagery are included. But of course, those could be the elements of fantasy horror. That's something we don't see too much of. And it has been a while since I've done Goth-Metal lore. It has been, most of them I did before the move. And I really hadn't done anything, I think, since the move. That was July. That's been a long-ass time, and I really would like to do something. And this is something that I meant to do for a long time, even last summer, but I just never got around to it, and here we are now. So, is it Goth-Metal lore material? And I really thought about this. Keep in mind, it's a four-hour movie as opposed to an hour and a half. 2 hours, right? An hour and 15 minutes. Some movies, I think The Master of Disguise is that long, isn't it? With Dana Carvey. And this movie can be in black and white or it can be in color, whatever floats for you. And I'm looking at it, right? I'm thinking, could it be that dark? Well, you've got dark imagery, especially like with things like with Apocalypse and Dark Side. You've got the dark imagery of the inside the old Russian factory, where all the the parademons hang out, right? The imagery inside Cyborg's head, the nightmares, even the nightmare itself, right? People die in the future, people die in the past. Here we got the black Superman costume. There's imagery that's scary, it's frightening. There's a little bit of death metal implied, okay? Because Dark Side, especially when you see the superheroes impaled in a box, right? Almost like a giant mother box, and that's like sort of that Jack Kirby imagery that you see. So there's darkness, even though it's a superhero movie. There's a foreboding darkness, darkness in the sky, darkness in clouds, the nightmare, the possible dark future of all the heroes being dead, Dark Side, Lois being dead, the big war. Okay, the war that happens right, just to explain Uxas. Like, what was he? What was he before he was Dark Side? Because he was just another warrior from another planet, but he was looking for the anti-life equation. So that's important. I love these muddy colors. And I think that's kind of important to see those muddy colors. Just zoom in a little bit on that, show a little bit of it. Yeah, I like that it's not completely colorful and it's not black and white. And I think that Zack Snyder should just dealt with this as his mainstay, his defaults, which he kind of did. And I love this fan art. But yeah, this is what it was out. This is his dream, right? All this darkness. It's a big contrast to what we are getting for James Gunn's stuff. And I kind of thought about it too, and this will be a topic for another time, about a practical DC universe. That's not like real world, like real life, but not the traditional stuff. But that's another time. But whether it's black and white, I mean, there's horrific things that you see. This is not a little kid's movie. It doesn't get like Hellraiser grotesque, right? But people do die. Uh, Between the warriors of man, between the Atlanteans, between the Amazons, Amazons be dying. And there's a lot of like with Steppenwolf. I like Steppenwolf's design by Zack Snyder and not the shitty Joss Whedon cut. Joss Whedon cut doesn't work. Um, yeah, it's just the whole gold trim, that whole even like D-Sod's like what is it? The pin needles inside the cloth. Like you're taking a bunch of needles, right? Knitting needles, or not knitting needles, crochet needles, and sticking them in the fabric. That's what D-Sod's costume looks like. It's just all this imagery of apocalypse and all the imagery of the heroes. Like they're trying to be these noble heroes you remember from the 70s and 80s and early 90s, but they're so dark and kind of depressed, kind of dismal, right? And there's a dark tint to even the stuff you see. Oh, this Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy. Only 3 movies. Yeah, they didn't want to do anymore. They have the Ultimate Edition, so they wanted to keep that 4K Ultra, but everything's gone to digital now. They don't even sell these in stores anymore. But and ends of eras. So, do I think it is a goth metal lore movie? I think it's light, but I think it's very close to it. I would consider it that. I would consider it that for a superhero movie. I think this is a goth metal lore version of a superhero movie. If there are better candidates for that, like Conan the Barbarian or Hellraiser, something that just kind of gets, or even Manborg, right? Or what is it, Mad God with Phil Tippett's animation. This is a bit removed, but it still has the same themes. So I will consider this to be a goth metal lore movie. I mean, especially with Superman in the black costume. Here we got the Project Justice League. This is the art from that, which I think things are very different based on Wonder Woman and Batman's relationship. And people be dying in this, and all the heroes got to do their part. But more importantly, just the darkness, the feeling of darkness. Uh, it takes itself very seriously. We go through Cyborg's imagination, his storytelling. We go through what the Flash has to do to save everyone. We go through Wonder Woman's encounter. It's just everywhere you see, there's just a darkness, especially when she goes down to find Darkseid's mural, his Darkseid's painting. There's Cyborg. You can see Cyborg here. Amazing stuff. A lot of banners, a lot of things. So my final thoughts on this. What image shall I? Oh, a more colorful image. That was a black and white one. It would have been great to see that autumn assembly of all the first responders and the military and the superheroes all work together. We didn't get that encounter with Lex and Darkseid. That wasn't going to happen. We did not get the final encounter with Batman encountering Diana. You know which Batman I'm talking about? That didn't happen. Wasn't going to ever happen. And of course, the revelation of Lois. Lois didn't know the whole truth. She had the anti-life equation. That would have been something. But that is a what-if story for another time, unfortunately. But yes, goth metal lore. Zack Snyder's Justice League fits perfectly with that. Best goth metal lore, slight fantasy horror superhero movie you will ever watch. Check it out if you haven't already.